Okay, here we go. I am Fred Zara. I am the writer and the director and the editor for this film, The Suicide of James Ryder. Here's our fancy logos. Oh, rest in peace, James Sullivan. He passed away. Owned that company there. I am here with a few people. To my left here is Erin Laine. She was one of our producers, and she was our production designer. Say hi, Erin.
Hello.
There's Erin. To my right is, this is a lovely shot. You'll see this later in the film because, surprise, we close with this shot as well. To my right here is another producer on the film is my wife, Kris, who can also add some context to the story behind the story. This is based on a true story, so Kris was involved in the real stuff. So say hi, Kris.
Hello, welcome.
And then I have some handsome gentlemen here who you will meet soon in the film. I have Zach. Is it Zach or Zachary?
Zach.
What are we going with?
Officially, Zach.
Zach. Zach plays Bobby Russo. We'll meet him soon. Say hi, Zach.
Hello.
This is also Zach Roundy that you're seeing on the screen. Not to be confused with Zach Laine, who's sitting right to my right. And then we have, who's this?
Andrew Romano. Hello.
Andrew Romano is the Andrew Romano.
Thank you very much.
His first name.
We're gonna go with the Andrew Romano since he is our star of the film here. Plays Richie Russo, which, surprise, is loosely based on me a little bit. The whole film is loosely based. Well, somewhat loosely based in parts. Other parts really closely based on true stories. So here we go. There's Andrew's shoulder.
Yep.
There's Andrew packing clothes.
He's a great packer.
He does. He's just.
I folded those shirts like 7 times.
Yeah.
Oh, you did it.
I did.
Oh, so he didn't really do it. Movie magic.
I love this storytelling right here. From an editing perspective, Fred, what you did with the cuts and this shot right here.
That shot is
just
beautiful.
beautiful.
Thank you. The whole idea here, the way I wrote it in the script, was that both James here and then cutting back to Richie, they're both preparing to go on a journey.
Oh.
That's the way I was kind of scripting it out. James, of course.
Quick shout out to Erin for the beautiful vehicle that I'm working on here and I'm driving with.
Belonged to Bruce Wayne originally.
Yeah.
It was the original Batmobile.
Yeah,
This was the original
Yes.
Batmobile.
Missed that car.
Really good budget here.
One of the blurry shots of Zach Roundy's face. There's the car. That's my actual license plate from when I lived in New Jersey.
Oh.
I know that's impressive that it's an actual license plate from New Jersey from the 90s.
This movie is authentic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mara Dow.
Marred. Yes. She just showed up and killed it for this one day that she showed up.
I've taken classes with Mara. She is one of the most dedicated and most believable actresses I've ever been able to do scene work with, practice with. She's phenomenal in every way you can describe it.
She's great. And a wonderful person.
Oh, she's the sweetest.
She moved out of town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's up in
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah. She likes cheese.
If she hears this, she should come back to Orlando, Florida, so we can work with her.
Stay here a little longer before you head.
Cough, cough.
A lot going on. Mom, what are you talking about?
It's just
I mean, look at those eyes.
friend James. He's dead. Killed himself.
This music here was my brother Joe, who did just about all the music in the film. He was playing around before we started working on this film. He was playing around with doing a weird version of the song Midnight Rider. So this was just the intro. I mean, all the the ba-da-dum bum ba-bum, all that stuff that I can't use because I don't have the rights to that
Is
song.
it the Allman Brothers?
The Allman Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
He was just working on this weird like intro for the Midnight Rider. Kelly Dagnan.
That scene that we just passed was Richie struggling to get gas because in Jersey you can't pump your own gas. It's illegal.
That's right.
Yeah.
What?
Good comment on
Yeah,
that.
I'd never heard of that.
Yeah.
Only Jersey people would pick that out.
Right.
Right.
I've never left Florida, so.
Yeah.
Jersey and Oregon.
Illegal to pump your own gas.
I love the way these car shots came
Yeah.
out.
And this was me and Ryan Lightbourne just crammed into a car. And Ryan, he's got a very particular sense.
Sense of
So that was
There's Ryan's credit,
accurate.
Director of Photography.
Director of
the very
photography.
talented Ryan Lightbourne.
very talented Ryan Lightbourne.
And scent.
Yeah, this was a fun day, just driving around, and
Yeah.
It was fun.
it was raining off and on, and which gave it like, see, it gave it like a, I think you ordered that as a production designer. You ordered it to rain.
I did.
That day.
I did.
'Cause
I
it
made
really-
that-
it
I made
really-
that happen. I mean, I had to pull a permit for it, but
No, that sign was not there in 2001. So anyone who's looking for me to, make a mistake.
Well, we
There
tried
it
to
was.
take it down and they got all mad at us. So
Yeah.
we had to stop.
Why does your stupid brother have to come now?
Please welcome to the frame, Kelly.
Well, that was before James went.
Dagnan, right?
I know.
How do you say that?
I didn't want to pronounce it the wrong way.
I always.
I just let you do it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Dagnan, and
Kelly D.
She's gonna be mad. Kelly D.
Kelly D.
I can pronounce that.
You're gonna like him.
Robbie, will you stop saying that? I'm not.
Notice that product displacement.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh yeah.
I could brag on Kelly for a second and just say that, like, Andrew brought us. I didn't know Kelly until Andrew brought her to the auditions, and I had originally wrote the part of Lexi for someone that was noticeably a lot younger than Richie and all the other people all the other friends that are in here, like 20, 21 or something like that. And then Kelly comes in, who Andrew brought to the table. And Kelly, she was about the same age as everyone else. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if I could cast Kelly just because she's not what I was picturing. And then she came into the audition and she fucking ruined it. It was just like, she just killed it, and announced to everybody.
She took the role.
Yeah, I'm going to take this role now, thank you. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to rewrite this a little bit and put Kelly in it.
She was perfect.
Oh, really? Yeah, man.
This was our one cold day in.
Yeah.
And,
So fun fact about Zach. Zach does not handle cold very well.
Not
and
at
this
all.
is at least negative 100 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
It was really cold. It
If
was
you-
like it
Between
was in the
all
high
shots, you were-
40s, right?
Yeah, wonderful. Our makeup designer,
Yeah.
Skeet, was just an absolute angel. He would stand there with like a heated blanket
Yeah.
ready to go. And so in between every single shot, he'd be ready to go. And
Yep.
I would come off shivering, falling down to the ground. He would like give me some body warmth, warm me up so
Yep.
we can continue. Because I was not at I was falling apart.
the great John Michael and Katie Ford.
Cannot believe he grew dreads for this. Just absolutely wonderful.
Movie magic dreads,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Shout out to Skeet for those
Yeah.
dreads. Amazing.
He got to keep those after the
Yeah,
shoot.
that's right.
Yeah.
Fun little fact: the pants that Kelly is wearing actually belong to the real Miko, who is my
Oh.
I
friend.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They
Wow.
belong to him.
Uh huh. They were his. He gave them to me because they were too big
Oh,
for him.
yeah. Well, fun fact overall that people might not know that a few of the characters in the film are named after suicide victims in real life that are connected to people in the cast and crew, like Erin Laine's friend Miko, who passed away about 10 years ago.
2009.
So he named this character Miko.
I'm just getting started, so it's nowhere near finished yet. But
This was our neighbor Greg's house, and he let us just completely take it over.
Oh my
Take
goodness.
it over.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
He
Such
was
a nice
so
guy.
so nice.
He even went and got a hotel and just like
Really?
let Aviva, the producer Aviva, stayed at his house,
Yeah.
and he went and left and got a hotel. And
This might be one of my favorite reoccurring themes throughout the movie.
This song, yeah.
Is this character and this couple working through his inability to sing.
It's getting there, man.
Your faces are so great.
Hey, come on, man. I'll show you to your room.
They got great chemistry
I was
too.
just gonna say from day one, they hit it off.
Yeah, Andrew and I love each other. We're so
Still
great.
do.
We should
Them too.
we should also point out John Michael actually has a lovely singing voice in real life.
Yes, he's a phenomenal singer.
Kids got
Unrivaled.
pipes.
This when I saw this porch in Greg's house, that's what really sold me on this as a location. Because Greg offered, he's like, you could shoot it here, and I'm like, I don't know if it's exactly what I was looking for. Then I saw this back porch, and I tried to model this after when I moved to Florida. I lived in my brother's spare bedroom, and I had a mattress on the floor like that.
Yep.
And when I saw this, and it was just hot out there, and I was just like, it's perfect.
You want to get out of the cold weather anyway.
I love that the fan doesn't work. It's funny to me every time.
And
There's a fan. Oh, it doesn't
And
work.
Bobby's he's so like indifferent. He's just like, so what? 112 out here, so what?
I'm happy here, man.
Back to the
It
living
hasn't
room.
stopped.
I still have that knit cap. I can't bring myself to throw it away.
Do you have that one right there?
I do. Yep. I pulled it out today by accident.
She had Katie had a great idea later on in the party scene. She had the idea. Can I wear the hat
Yeah.
that I was knitting?
Yeah.
Because she goes through the whole thing about I'm not good enough and people don't like me and stuff like that. I'm not good at anything. That whole scene. And she's like, what if I'm wearing that gross hat that I'm trying to put together?
It's a hat, asshole.
Of course, it's a hat, baby. No, come on.
So all the little duct tape figures that you see spread around, those were made by Erin Laine.
That shoe in the back.
Yep.
I did.
And the Ferris wheel to over Miko's left shoulder. We have that at our house too.
Yeah, we still have the.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
And
Aw.
I have the couple, the duct tape couple.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
You do?
I have that.
Lexi and
Oh,
Bobby?
cool.
Oh, nice.
Or Richie?
I just have duct tape.
This chemistry is phenomenal right here. I love this.
I want to see a spin-off movie with these.
I
two.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Ferris wheel in the back.
To do with the water pump, but
Oh, yeah.
who knows?
Those were so fun to make.
Bobby, I think
Those turned out great.
I had, honestly, when I wrote that,
you had a good run.
I wrote that Lexi is she makes art out of duct tape. I'll be straight up. When I wrote that, I envisioned silver duct tape, making art out of silver duct tape. And Erin started sending me pictures and saying, what do you think about this? And she sent a couple. I'm working on this couple, and I can make the shirt the same color as whatever Andrew wears in the scene,
Right.
and Kelly and stuff like that. And I'm like, I didn't even think about colors. That's genius.
Right.
So they were much more interesting than I thought they were going to be.
I remember this scene being incredibly challenging. This was the first day we were shooting. We went right into this.
This
and
was the
bet-
first scene, right?
Yeah.
First scene we shot? Yeah.
Between the weather and all the distractions outside, must have been so many ambulances.
The dog.
The dogs.
Construction, yeah.
Airplanes. It was hard to, and this was maybe a 6-page scene.
This is a lot
And
of
if you watch
fun.
closely, my nipples are slowly getting more and more purple.
I wasn't gonna be the one to point that out.
I actually do not have my nipples anymore. I am completely,
They froze off.
Rest in
They're
peace.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Zach
I'm good.
Nichols.
I'm glad you brought those up because
I actually chopped out probably 10% of this scene in the editing too,
because of the nipples.
because the nipples were the nipples actually did the cutting. They were so sharp.
Unintentional.
That's how hard they were. Yeah.
That is over Andrew's behind Andrew is mine and Kris's house in real life.
Well, it's not like that everywhere.
It worked out so well that Greg's car right there
Yeah.
is like 2002. My neighbor Don has the blue truck, and it's probably 80s, 90s. So we didn't have to go out and try and get a bunch of old cars to make it look period.
Yeah, half of the production crew drives old cars.
2000s
I
cars.
don't have to move my Buick either. It's a 2002.
Wasn't this the scene where something happened with Ryan Lightbourne's
Yeah.
the DP
Yeah.
Ryan Lightbourne? Something happened with his son at home.
Son
Yeah.
cut his
Oh,
finger.
yeah.
Yeah.
His son cut his finger real bad, and he almost had to leave
Oh my God.
the set in the middle of it.
Yeah.
First day of shooting.
I went over to his
Yeah.
house to possibly take his kid to the hospital,
Oh
but
my
it
God.
turned out to not be
Oh.
serious, so he was okay.
That's how difficult this scene was. There was
Let's
so
see
much
what else
going on.
happened. Well, the apocalypse
Right.
started, and
Ryan is on
Yeah.
the phone right now filming.
And yeah, so anyone listening to this, I mean, we schedule these low budget short films, these low budget films so tightly. You know, we can't afford to lose an hour. If somebody had to leave the set for an hour or something like that, it would throw everything off, and we wouldn't be able to cover our day. And we just don't have the money or the time to reshoot anything. So we kind of had to just hope that everything went exactly on schedule. And luckily, for all the 9 days of shooting, it did.
and thank God we had total pro actors that could nail these scenes.
Yeah, they
quickly.
did. I mean,
guys were amazing.
I don't think we did more than 4 takes of anything, right? You know, a couple of times we maybe had to go 5-6 times, or
It felt like a thousand
Something
to me, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, everything was pretty short.
at any one setup, we normally would do 3 to 4 takes.
Yeah.
If we went to 5 or 6 takes, that was a lot.
And that's because usually like something happened in the background that we didn't want, like a dog
Right.
barking.
Yeah.
You know,
Who we're best friends with the dog now.
a thing in your head that tells you that shit might suck. Shit might
You delivered us good, Zach.
I really like this line.
always be like this.
My writing's shitty, but your delivery, your delivery's great.
Yeah.
Well, you have a good team with you. You know, like I've worked with Andrew for a little bit now, and just the trust that you have on scene. And I'm freezing. Now that I'm out of frame, I fell on the ground. That's how cold it was. But
It
when you
was
have
so
when you have
cold.
someone out there, I mean, there was a recent audition we
Hey,
both
that's
went
a-
on, and it
that's-
was absolutely amazing because we knew each other.
That was my daughter looking out the window. It's supposed to be me, the neighbor.
I'm sitting on the couch, right? Just minding my own business, and James comes in like full ass naked and starts conversation.
Ryan did a great job lighting this scene.
Yeah, it looks so good.
I'm sitting down, so his package is like right in front of me.
He was just walking around the house naked?
Oh, he was always
Little Easter egg. The beer bottles, I took off the labels and obviously couldn't have them drinking, you know, Budweiser or something like that. So I replaced the labels with Talk Beer. Talk is a short film that I did a couple of years ago. Erin was in it as well.
Andrew's in it.
Yeah, Andrew's. You came on set. You were
Oh yeah. Sorry.
That's how famous Andrew
Nope.
is. He has no idea.
I didn't know
He's like,
what.
it was right
you
after that
titled
Batman film, Andrew.
yeah, but
That was the first project you and I worked on together.
That's it. 2017.
like a photographic memory when it came to songwriting.
So this, some of these are actual stories of the real James. The real James is, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. His name was James Ballard in real life, and a lot of these stories are real stories of the real James. And we actually did that as an audition piece with Katie and John Michael. Andrew was there, and we just did some auditioning with the actors as they were coming in, and just had them kind of talking with this scene, telling stories about James. And it was the first time Kris and myself, who knew the real James, got a chance to see people like kind of sit around and laugh about James. So it was kind of emotional for us. So
I didn't handle that very well.
yeah, Kris kind of yelled at the actors and
Yeah. I
'Cause-
kind of lost my shit on them.
Don't piss off Kris is the lesson of this commentary.
No, not really.
Because you keep looking at your watch.
God, Kelly just.
Yeah.
packs a
Also,
punch.
don't ever piss off Kelly.
Right.
She's no problem flipping you off either.
It's not very hard for her to act like this right now. I'm just saying.
I had a job lined up before I came down.
the funny thing is you're supposed to be had just moved down from New Jersey, but she's obviously the New Yorker in the scene.
It's you know, it's like
Somebody from the cast or crew pointed out the IPA in the background.
Yeah.
That would not have been around in 2002.
I actually was going to try and digitally go in there and replace that, and
So is that
I
why
couldn't.
you moved all the way down here to Florida? Is
this is the only spot in Florida that had these, so this is...
Yeah, they were way
We started it.
Yeah,
ahead
exactly.
of the
Yeah,
time.
we created the IPA.
There's Mandy Rocks in the background.
Absolutely.
Real dreads.
Real Dreads. Mandy was a production assistant, and she did some assistant hairstyling.
Yeah.
So the way we met Mandy and the way Mandy got involved with this project was Fred and I were doing an improv show. Mandy came to watch us do the improv show, and I was like, oh, she looks like a hippie. She should be in James Ryder. So I just went up to her and I was like, hey, would you be interested in being in a film? You might have to get naked, but would you be interested in being in it? And she's like, sure.
That's how most auditions start.
Yeah,
right.
So,
You'll probably be naked.
yeah.
Luckily, I wasn't the one that had to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was down, and she was great.
We worked with Mandy a couple times since then. Oh, here comes the great Brian Bachman.
Yes. Brian has been on tour right now with
Yeah.
that Last Out. He's
Yep.
gone all throughout the country with this wonderful play dealing with veterans coming back
Yeah.
from war.
PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a Green Beret. Is he?
Yeah,
He's
He's a
definitely
a veteran,
He's
right?
definitely a veteran and definitely
Yeah.
a badass. And used to jump out of airplanes and kill people. So
Yeah.
this was interesting for me to be the aggressor in this situation.
Yeah.
Knowing his whole squad is behind him.
He was great though. I appreciate him coming on.
Brian is by far one of the hardest working actors I know.
Absolutely.
You gotta relax, dude. It was an accident. Sorry, man. I might have overreacted.
One of our associate producers is right there on the left.
Oh.
You edited out the brilliant line that John Michael improv there. He was like, everybody had left and it was like dying dead. It was just me and him. The cameras were still rolling. And he goes, "Do you want to smoke some dope?" Well played, John Michael. Well played.
Well played.
Keeping it.
Director's cut. Let me go back and re-edit this. The director's cut. That is my T-shirt you're wearing, Andrew. Looks better on you.
Still hasn't gotten it back.
I wear it every night to sleep. Now, Fred, did you really take your watch off before you went to sleep every night?
Every night. I sure did. It was the last thing I did.
Wow.
Yeah, now it's an Apple Watch, but back then it was a little Casio. Look at this. The great... Everybody's great. There's Brandon Hoffman, another talk actor.
Get her some cookies. Okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Look at that very time-appropriate computer he's working on there.
Let's see.
Nobody typed that fast back then.
Brand new clip.
They are, Richard. You'll be starting on Robert Holcomb's team.
Robert Holcomb, a reoccurring
Go
name
down that way. Make a
in
right.
films that I've worked on.
Holcomb, right? Down to the right. Down to the right. Yeah. Sorry.
We're going to introduce everyone to Daniel Walks in a moment here. Hey, there's Vicky and more producers in the back. Vicky and Margie and Gabe.
But only do that if there's been a complaint on file within the past month. It's like last resort kind of shit.
Where was this office?
Here's where you'll be.
We were lucky enough to have the good people at God's House Orlando let us use. It's actually a church, and these are the back rooms of a church.
Another break at 2:30, and you're out of here.
And we actually held the table read right in that room there. Remember the table read? That was this room right here.
We rented the cubicle,
Yeah.
and the company came and set it up for us and everything, and came back and took it away. It was pretty awesome.
We rented a cubicle for the weekend, basically.
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah.
You can rent a cubicle. I mean,
We're
typically
like,
people don't rent them
what's
for
the
just
oldest
one.
piece of shit you got? That's what we want.
Oh, here comes our dog, Roxy. James actually had, the real James Ballard had a miniature pinscher named Wiley. So I threw a shot in there of, since coincidentally,
cool. I didn't know that.
coincidentally we have a miniature pinscher now.
Now, if I remember correctly, I was literally just writing insults for Andrew.
Yep. And
I would show him these insults like, you dress badly.
You wrote down ice is the water of tomorrow.
It's brilliant.
He was cold here, so he might have wrote that.
Yeah.
Did
Ice
we
is
have
a very
did we
big
have a
thing.
heater on your feet here?
We did.
I
Oh
do.
my gosh.
Also, again, Skeet is hiding in the background, just ready to pounce on me with warmth.
Aw.
He was the absolute, and I get to.
I mean, that tank top wasn't keeping you warm.
No,
I mean...
no. I'm surprised I had a tank top on. But we had a tank top because my nipples are gone at
I
this
was gonna
point.
say, we had to hide your nippleless chest.
We're,
No, I'm serious.
It's just
There
wounds.
are dudes out there that have never been in a fist fight.
I remember when we were trying to set the shot up and not see the swimming pool.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
your neighbor has a swimming pool.
And I was worried that Ryan was gonna like back up into the swimming pool
I
with
know,
the
I
camera.
remember that.
We should also throw a shout out to Mandy Rocks, who this was like one of her first days on set with us, and we didn't really know her very well. And this scene was scripted for the front porch. And then, of course, the time of day, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun was just blasting out the front porch. And we were trying everything to find a corner of the porch to shoot at or block the sun. Nothing was working. Mandy at one point said, we should shoot it in the back. And I was just like, no, we're going to... And I just kind of just was stubborn for a little while. And then after about 30 minutes of trying to set up, I walked in the back and I looked at the back porch. And I'm like, it's genius, fucking genius. Let's shoot it back here.
Yeah.
Is this a true story? I wanted to ask you that.
This is something, yeah, my brother Joe, the Bobby character that Zach plays is loosely based on my brother Joe. A little bit my brother Kris and a little bit my brother Joe. My brother Kris is a writer, but everything else about the character is probably my brother Joe, who, and this is a story
So
that
say, is it a true story
It
that he got the
is.
shit beat out of him? But he didn't fight back, so he didn't get.
but he didn't
Did
get,
he
but
get suspended?
yeah, but it wasn't because he made out with the girl. It was because he told me this after he saw the movie. He's like, it wasn't because I made out with the girl. It was because he was in swimming class with some girl, and he said she looked good in a bathing suit, and the guy and the guy's boyfriend got mad and beat him up because of that.
Girl's boyfriend.
And
Wow.
the girl's boyfriend, yes. And so he stood there and got beat up, so he didn't get suspended.
What the hell's the difference?
You know, there was a concern about, can you guys pull off brothers? You know, because, you guys don't necessarily look like brothers, although I don't really look like my brothers either.
At all.
But there was a couple people that came in at Redwood Andrew that looked like Andrew was cast early on, so it was a matter of trying to find people that could play off of Andrew. And a couple people came in and they're like, "Wow, that guy fucking kind of looks like he's Andrew's brother."
Could be.
And I fell in love with Zach. I'm like, that's the fucking guy. That's Bobby. But could they pull off being brothers? If they don't look like brothers, but I think they do.
You asked him to do some improv. And I remember Zach doing in his audition you did some sort of an improv story about a squirrel. And I don't remember what it was, but I just remember we were laughing our asses off about you talking about the squirrel.
It was very animal. I remember.
And you're like
animal based.
he's just so fucking interesting.
Yeah. In every definition of the word, interesting.
Oh, I thought you meant squirrel.
I think I did. Zach, did I talk to you about possibly playing James at one time too? I think I brought that up, and after you read the script, before I found Zach Roundy, and I think I remember you saying something like, "No, Bobby's my guy. I know this guy."
Yeah, if I have my target set, I kind of just stick on that one. I don't like to move around too much.
I got a lot. I mean, all you guys, everybody. But I really got a lot of great feedback about Zach's performance.
Now, this might be one of the most memorable moments that I've ever had on film. My favorite scene I think I've ever shot, ever, is what we're about to witness right now.
The whole
It was
scene?
so
or-
fun.
Everything. This entire scene.
ladies and gentlemen.
It was so fun.
I think this...
When
Everyone...
we were done shooting this, I felt like I was on drugs.
Me too.
Oh my god, goodness.
My
Brian
fa-
is over there.
I brought the glow sticks, by the way.
Yes, you
And
did.
you knew how to use them.
I knew how to use them.
Zach, when you exit the room with your arm around the pole and swing around the pole, it's one of my favorite parts of this
Great
whole
entrance.
scene. Yeah.
We shot this whole drug party sequence, I think in about 5 hours, and it was during the day, and we had to tape off all the doors and windows.
Wow.
And I remember leaving after we finally wrapped. I remember walking out, and it was bright outside.
Yeah, it was like 5 o'clock.
And I too felt like I was in. I just stepped into a different dimension.
This scene right here is a part of my demo clips now.
Oh, yeah? Good,
The one that
good.
like a couple seconds ago. Yeah.
Good.
I always loved this whole shot of the friends kind of coming together.
So many are a class act. We have Brian over
Yep.
there, Dolores, phenomenal. We have Melina Kay, who we got to tour earlier this year, or 2019, doing some Halo fun gig.
Yeah. Shout out to Melina.
That clock actually hung on our wall back when we, lived in this a house just like this, and James was around. And here goes Andrew Romano. What's happening here?
He went full method for this role. He had no
That's-
idea.
There's James. That's the real James
the real
Ballard.
James.
Yeah. I was so sad I missed this shooting day. I wanted to be there so badly.
This shooting day was on our anniversary, actually.
Yeah, it was.
So I have actually a fun raving background
Oh.
in the early days. So it was really fun to bring like these glow sticks, the glow stick balls, the strings around. I was really enjoying showing everyone like, hey, this is what you do.
Zach really made this scene easy to shoot because you kind of brought that culture. And
You
that
really,
life and
you
environment
really
to
brought the
life.
vibe. Yeah.
I remember when we were doing the wardrobe fitting, and I saw that robe hanging in that guy's closet. And I
That was
like,
you?
Yeah, I was like, you gotta put this robe
This is
on.
it.
This robe, this is what Bobby's gonna wear when he rolls. That was great.
We really did this house out great. We this.
Oh, that's what I used to like to do right there. Rock around.
It's the best. There's no
This-
going back.
Rocking with a strobe light in my face is my favorite.
I love this.
God.
The editing here is
Yes. it
perfection.
is. Really good.
Ecstasy.
This is a
My mouth is dry, he says.
Dolores.
Doralis.
Doralis. We have Brian over there. Brian's moved up north, I think.
I think he moved to California.
Yeah.
Brian, don't listen to me, everyone. Just
Watch the movie.
yeah. I'll stop from here. That's the singer of the song, right there.
Andrew, you are so believable here. It's so great.
Thank you. Yeah, Kelly, I mean, again, the authenticity to Kelly brings, she makes it easy to just be in a
She
scene.
killed it. My brother Joe did this song. It's called. He did all the music in the movie plus the raving music here, and this song is called Watermelon Sugar, I think. It's the same. The name of the song is the same as one of James Ballard's favorite books. So you hear Watermelon Sugar or something like that. It's saying you can hear it. You guys are so good here.
Oh, I love this.
With it falling in and out of focus.
Yeah.
That's an Erin Laine painting
The
behind
water,
our heads.
the water.
Yeah.
And who didn't have, a lava lamp?
Yeah.
There he goes.
My pointing skills.
Here we go.
Very important
the
part
water,
if you
yeah.
ever want to have a rave to have 2 bottles of water or 2 packages of water. Those should all be empty before you go to sleep. Oh my goodness. Brian!
So great.
All right, kids, you can leave the room now.
I just
Yeah, there's the hat.
I'm not good at anything. I'm not good at anything. Lexi's good.
Bobby's good.
Bobby can make a glow stick.
You're so good. I wanna be so good for you, baby.
So great. Love that relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys were just so awesome in this scene. Just walking around with a camera, playing music, and we just basically just recreated a party.
Yeah, really fun. It was a fun day on set.
You rarely get those times you're like, hey, we need to reshoot it again, and everyone goes, yay!
Yeah.
We could do like 18 more, we're fine.
Riley, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
Your shirt is off.
Yeah.
She's so great.
Richie, you gotta listen to me.
Skeet did a great job with all the sweat and everything here too.
He loves how much I hated the sweat spray. How much every time he would like throw it on me, I'd be like,
Yeah, I didn't know that was happening. That's awesome.
The question isn't, why am I taking my shirt off while we're rolling? It's why can't I take my shirt off if we weren't?
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, come on, come bring it in. There you go. Oh, shit.
For a while there, I had you'd made me a GIF of Katie doing right. That I used to use all the time. It was great. She was so funny.
This was a super hard scene to shoot. I don't know if you guys remember, we shot this scene backwards.
Yeah.
We shot this scene right after we shot the Isaac scene that takes place later in the film. And the sun was actually going down. It was late in the day and the sun was going down. So we shot the scene backwards. So it appears that the sun's going up, coming up.
Mm-hmm. I remember the difficulty of
Jersey.
the difficulty of playing or being in a headspace where I've never been before, rolling and coming down from the roll. I've never rolled before, and I didn't want it to seem fake. Like I'd never, clearly an actor who's acting like he's on drugs. So I had a couple people on set who had rolled who would tell me, give me physicality notes, and this was a very important one, especially with the jaw clenching and the sensations.
You do great.
Yeah.
Well, I had great sources on set.
Well, you don't have to give away their names.
I won't. Zach.
Her initials are.
I was trying to throw other names.
Kelly's awesome in this scene too.
Yeah, Kelly's also another actress I got to meet through Class Act, and just committed, just an absolute firecracker, unintimidated by anything.
Nothing.
There's nothing
good way to
you
say
can
it.
make her afraid of, and she's just gonna power through whatever you want.
Well, she had to, get naked. The last scene in the movie, that was on such a low budget, not being able to promise people much other than, my vision, having to get all these actors and say, hey, look, the last scene in the movie, everybody strips naked and jumps in a river. Are you game? That was a hard sell. I didn't know that I'd be able to get everybody to buy into that, and
I don't know that it was a hard sell, but it was scary to sell.
those are fake flowers, by the way. Scary?
Well, I think it was scary to sell because everybody else, I think, was just on board. It was scary to bring that up to people and see if they were game, but I don't think it was a hard sell. I think everybody trusted you.
Mm-hmm.
I did trust you.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was so nervous, but I did trust that.
And it went by fast.
It did.
It really went by fast.
It was a fun day, too.
It was. God, I was so scared.
Honestly, the naked part had to be less scary than the actual getting in that water.
No, I know. Yeah,
Good point. In
absolutely.
Florida summer too.
Oh my god.
And that's great planning there on Fred's part.
I originally wanted Ryan Lightbourne to get into the scene at the very end that we'll get to, where you and Kelly are having a conversation in the water. I actually wanted Ryan in the camera behind you guys
In the water.
to get like some good over the shoulder shots. And when we were location scouting, and I said, "This is, I think, is the water we're going to use. We're going to shoot here." He was just like, "Fred, there's zero chance I'm getting in that water."
Yeah, just like Fred, I'm just not doing it.
So we had to put him on the
so
side of the
that's
bank.
not gonna
Matter of fact, Ryan. Yeah.
The significance of the angel trumpets would be
James Ballard's favorite plant were angel trumpets.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the frame, Demi Castro.
James Ballard's actual bike. Erin, you did a great job with this setup here, the flowers and everything.
Fred and Kris,
Yes.
Thank you.
how difficult was it
Oh my gosh.
for you guys to relive this scene?
This day, it was his funeral all over again.
Yeah, there's
It was really hard showing up at his funeral again.
we basically recreated James Ballard's funeral. There's several people you'll see in the background that were at his real funeral.
Yeah, that was one of the absolute. I don't know what the exact word for it is. I don't want to search for it, but it was a very unique experience because normally you come on set, whether you're portraying someone that's is a real person, a fake person, but this event was absolutely real, and half of these cast members were there.
Yeah.
And when you have that on your conscience, suddenly it's not acting anymore. Suddenly you're doing this for them.
It's justice.
And you can't, I don't think I could ever have prepared enough for it. I don't think I would have ever stopped. I would have just kept going because how important it is to them.
I actually was one of the people. A couple of people got up and walked out of James's funeral. One or two people, and I was one of them because the service just didn't feel like a service for James Ballard. So I was actually one of the ones that got up in the middle of it and left.
That made me think about James. And there was no talk about the kind of dude that he really was. You know, it was like the priest was up there just.
There's my family walking by.
This was for his family. That's what this was about.
Well, they could have said something.
Yeah, this was a
about,
long day.
I don't know. Let one of us get up there.
This was hours being in the
Just
state.
wasn't
That
a
was,
memorial
oof.
for the James that I knew.
It was really weird to try and, like, once everybody came into the sanctuary and we were about to shoot that actual scene we just watched, it was really weird to try and turn on, like, this director mode where I'm going to now, like, bark out orders to people. Like, I had to, like, almost whisper, "Okay, everybody, can you please just slide over a little bit and move the camera here?" Like, it was hard to walk that line between, like, leading and directing and also being very, mindful.
We were super, super grateful to this Lutheran church for letting us shoot there because it took forever to find a location to do this.
Yeah.
It was really difficult because it's suicide and because the content of the funeral, the scene is them not approving of it and walking out. It was really difficult to find a church that was period.
Yeah.
That looked the right type of denomination, something, that would have been what's the word I'm looking for? Protestant.
Yeah.
Protestant. Not a Catholic, but not a contemporary looking church. So
And by the way, Zach, between every take, had tears rolling down his face. You must have been exhausted.
It was a rough day. But again, like, a lot of that comes into, who's in that room with you. Not only am I acting with, like, some of my best friends, but when was this in order? I think this was before we went into the.
No, we shot this after.
I don't know what I'm talking about. But this part, having his actual friends there, you're like, oh my god, I can't half it. This has to be more than I've ever done.
This felt good. Shooting this felt good in the moment.
No, not really.
you guys are great in this scene. Everybody's super connected.
Clearly what he wanted.
This again was supposed to take place on the porch or on the front steps of the church, but that didn't work out. I love the way we have Richie standing in the back, sort of like off on his own.
I love that line.
Yeah.
Again, John Michael being one of the most powerful performers you can ever meet.
All right.
He's so not like Miko.
Well, I was wondering if I was able to do another show with John Michael, Lieutenant Van Nishmore, which is a Mark McDonough play.
Yeah.
Very bloody, very crazy, lots of fighting. It was it's just great when you get to do it with like one of your good friends.
I've been doing everything that I can to actually help you with your. No, ma'am. I can assure you I was born much
Is that a
earlier
magic
than
sponge?
yesterday. Let me please. Can I transfer you to someone that maybe could actually. Hello.
Was it like a stress ball or something?
Yeah.
Ma'am.
How was this next scene to shoot here, Andrew? This is a one taker.
Ooh. Yeah, pressure was on.
I mean, we could have reset and went for another one, but
there's a lot of emotional prep going into this. This was a lot of sitting on the side and just not trying to telegraph it too much, keep it organic. But yeah, that's a lot harder than it looks, to be quite honest, especially if you want to do it right the first time.
Is there a lot of pressure knowing that there's like a lot of people standing around watching and waiting? And
oh yeah, well that yeah, you can kind of tune that out, but just the scenes that require you to just go from 1 to 100 really quickly and not look like you're just
acting
are difficult. You have to channel something that's true. And this scene.
Well, luckily you handle it flawlessly, so.
Yeah, thank you.
That works.
this scene was a tough one, huh?
Yeah, it was.
It was hot as hell. As a matter of fact, you say in the scene, we cut the scene a little short because you say it's like that wasn't in the script.
Yeah.
You're like, it's hot. Can we do? Because I think the scene is supposed to end with you guys actually planning the plant, and we were struggling with that, and we didn't have time to actually. At one point when we were getting ready to shoot it, Kelly was like, "Well, I've never planted a plant before. Can you show me how to do this?" I'm like, we don't really have time.
So we had it's hot.
Figure it out, kid.
So let's figure a different way to get out of this. And Andrew's just like, it's hot. Can we just go get something to eat? And that's how the scene ends.
Which is so true, though. Like, it's hot. Let's go get something to eat.
It's a big plant.
So James.
That is a big plant,
It's a
too.
big plant.
When I read the script, I was picturing like, I'm going to plant this little plant. It's, it's huge.
It's a whole tree.
James Ballard was into landscaping and had lots of plants in front of his duplex that he had planted. And so you guys are about to plant a corn plant here. That was passed. So James Ballard had a corn plant that after he passed away, it was kind of like passed around throughout our friend group. And it stayed about that size in a pot for several years. Until we finally purchased our first home, and then we finally put it in the ground.
Overthinker.
No.
And now it's taller than our house.
No, maybe.
Just a few feet away from this scene.
I actually, I was going to try and shoot this scene. That's right. I was going to try and shoot this scene and have you guys plant the movie corn plant next to the real corn plant. But again, that didn't work out either.
We show the real corn plant later on in the film. The one James gave us. Well, the one it was James.
It is, right? So you overthinkers, you never give your brain a chance to rest.
So the overthinking theme, that kind of comes up a few times. Where did that come from?
I don't know anybody like that.
that is Fred Overthinker's era.
Fred is the most overthinking person I've ever met in my entire life.
Such a true theme, though. Such a relatable theme, too.
It's a little hot out. Let me say we say this for later.
Let's just call this scene quits.
When you
and move on.
When you deliver that line about it being hot, I'm really feeling it.
Yeah.
Why did he call you Lexi?
Because of Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh. Is that where you're from?
I was the most jealous about the temperature of these scenes than my scenes.
You had to eat a lot of that day, didn't you?
I found a hair in that food, by the way. I probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I found a hair while I was shooting.
Wow.
Great restaurant, though.
The food didn't come from the restaurant.
It didn't?
No, it came from a freezer bag.
Who knows where that came from?
Not the restaurant.
Gosh. Another one of my favorite scenes to shoot because Kelly it's a force to be reckoned with when you're acting with her. She just brings so much energy and commitment to it that you have no other option but to just, you know.
She gives you like something like different for every take, but not so much different to where like I can't cut it together.
I was about to ask, does it make it difficult to edit?
There were
choices.
Yeah, luckily or unluckily, whatever, however you want to look at it, we don't have enough time to do 100 takes. So my choices are going to be limited just because I don't have a ton of takes to work with. So that actually saves me, or I'd still be editing.
I do love this dialogue that you wrote.
And
I still reference this.
You don't go to a sit-down restaurant by yourself.
That was such a thing with me.
No, that's true.
Not going to a sit-down restaurant by myself. And asking for a table for one, that's ridiculous.
This scene was used for Kelly's audition, right?
Oh,
Andrew,
yeah.
I think you did this with her.
Think about it. Everybody would be watching you thinking that you got stood up.
One of them. They did this scene and then they did the argument scene.
Yep.
Overthinker.
Overthinker.
Richie, you worry way too much. Nobody cares if you're sitting at a restaurant eating by yourself. No one's even gonna look at you.
Fun fact about Kelly too, how powerful she is with her dialogue. Sometimes like she hits every single word, and then sometimes she can just fly through them, and you're like, what? So powerful.
I'm not worried. I just like to know what time it is.
Why though? You're done with work for the day. You don't have anything to do.
How do you know I have nothing to do?
One of our assistants, costuming assistants, Jennifer Ward, is in playing the bartender in the background.
She's awesome.
You know what?
She's
good
also
actor herself.
Yeah, I was gonna say a good actor.
Because you don't make any sense.
I don't have to make sense.
I don't have to make sense.
Hey, look at that! There, look at the waitress there. Is
She's gonna date chicks now?
Dina?
No. I mean, I did try it.
We don't see her in this scene really, but we see her later on.
She seems hot.
She's cute.
You just done?
That was all Kelly. There's nothing written in the script that she calls the waitress cute.
My life, so I'm just done with dating guys.
Okay then. Good thing I'm not a guy.
What are you?
I'm a man.
Perfectly delivered.
It's so good. The slow up with your eyes. I'm a man.
Well, we do live together, and I see you like every day.
That is true.
Yeah, no.
Is this how this conversation went in real life too?
Not really. This is movie magic. I mean, there are parts of it.
Parts of this are real. Like, I used to be annoyed that Fred was always concerned about the time. It used to drive me crazy. Like, he didn't even have a job. You know, he moved to Florida, didn't have a job, and he's always looking at his watch. And I'm like, why? You literally have nowhere to be.
Right.
Well, not like right now you don't suck, but I can guarantee you, in a relationship, you suck. You can't.
So Kelly's based off of a couple different characters from the friend group.
Yeah, Kelly's a Mod Podge of both my wife Kris, but
some of our artsy friends.
yeah, James Ballard had a lot of girlfriends that were strictly just his friends, and they were all like artsy. One of them was a painter. One of them was I don't know, worked at the mall and made jewelry, and so.
Look at you, you're digging her. I don't know, man, maybe a little bit, but I'm not looking for a girl.
So I'm a very tall person. I am the worst at basketball. This is not aim shots. I want you to know I've been trying to make it every single time. Look at that guy just switched it over there, and I'm like, here we go. I think we even tried to make it look like I made it, but it was too embarrassing. I couldn't even do it.
Can't even fake it.
Yeah.
Fred, when you framed that shot, that wide shot a little bit further, the last shot before this, did you try to have the SunTrust building in the background?
I wanted the skyline a little bit, yeah. The SunTrust building was there in 2001.
Normally you only get 2 free throws in basketball. Notice I'm on 8.
Yeah, it was
Just
it was
'cause
cold.
we're waiting for you to make one.
Yeah. Couldn't be done. In my special skills, I have cannot make it.
Hey, Richie, stop!
There's our
Sorry about that, by the way.
Makeup artist.
Thank you.
Makeup.
I hit you in the shoulder.
Oh, that is Skeet.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yeah,
looks
that's
harder.
the hero.
I hit you in the shoulder like 5 takes in a row, and the one that we kept is the one where I nail you in the head.
Yeah, it's a good solid throw.
80 miles an hour. It was crazy.
The basketball players in the background. The taller guy is Kendall, who was an assistant on the film, but he also provided a lot of the clothes.
He owns that shirt, which I still have, Kendall. I'll get that back to you ASAP. I'm so sorry.
And the other one is Skeet, who was our key makeup artist.
Well, I know Skeet as well as I'm very fortunate at Universal to work various characters, and Skeet has been some of the people that has applied the makeup, and so I know him very well. He's a lovely, lovely person. Has saved me from hypothermia throughout this entire film.
Is the lots of conversation about and writing about pooping and pooping in dreams and all that? Was that Joe or Kris?
That's Joe.
Okay.
Joe has a bit of a weird complex when it comes to pooping, and he has dreams about pooping. And
Interesting.
And when he does, back in the day when the drugs were around, he would have to poop. And
Yeah. And he would tell people apparently.
well, I mean, we're telling everybody now, so I guess.
Yeah.
Dude. Hey.
He has Joe's has crazy dreams that James visits him and stuff too. So
I know, man, but does it have to be a crime drama?
Crime novels are what sells, brother. They're the highest selling book right now.
I'm just saying.
you remember that I really wanted you to wear your necklace, Zach, in this
You got a
scene,
good point of view on shit.
because you wore it throughout the whole movie. You're wearing it right now.
The necklace is there too.
It's there, but our sound engineer Tommy Wingo didn't want you to wear it because we had to lave you guys, put lavaliers on your chest.
I think it's right there.
We had to tape it down.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Me and Tommy had a bit of an argument over it because he didn't think it was worth it. He's like, just have him take the necklace off.
I have yet to ever take this necklace off. I have it on right now.
You have not taken it off yet?
Here's a work of
I
genius.
never take it off. It's only for other roles that say do not. Obviously.
This is a work of
Genius.
production design genius right here. This duct tape bird thing.
I had no idea what I was going to do.
I didn't know how you were going to do that either, and it was perfect.
I'm reading this script that says that it's duct tape art that looks like a duck, but it's supposed to be the Statue of Liberty, and I'm trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to make something that's supposed to look like both. And I was like, Fred, you couldn't have written like 2 things that are both horizontal or 2 things that are both vertical. It's got to be like a duck that's horizontal and a statue.
Yeah.
But you could see both right there, right?
Yeah.
So I figured to do the torch as the bill, but it was funny.
I chopped this scene up a lot too because some of the scenes we shot in this living room, they were so cramped and tight that there are times where I felt like you could feel that when I was watching it back. Like I could feel that people felt cramped when they were delivering certain lines. So you probably don't notice it, but there's some lines that I just took out.
Some Erin Laine artwork in the background.
Hey, by the way, I
Yeah.
like your duct tape bird, Riley.
Thank you.
I'd like to say we painted that room orange just for this movie because it came
We
out.
didn't have to do a thing
No.
to the kitchen, to the walls.
I cannot believe you got internet hooked up here. Well, I can't believe you guys never actually had it already hooked up.
You know, James has a website.
This is also part of my demo reel.
He was really into retro bikes, so he got a website up for it.
I love this scene.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that James was a computer guy.
We didn't know he had a website until we were prepping for this movie.
No, I knew.
Oh, you did.
I knew he
I
had
found
that.
out he had a website when we were prepping for this movie.
No, I knew him and Tyler had a bike website
Right.
that I think is still up.
What is that? It's a blog. What's a blog?
Well, I don't know what that is.
It's like a journal.
A journal.
Yeah, this
What's
is
a
where you're
journal?
gonna write any old shit that comes to mind, or theories on life, whatever. Yeah, you just hit publish, and it's out there into the world.
I think this was the first day of shooting too, wasn't it?
Possibly.
First or second?
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
I don't remember.
It's one of the earlier ones.
Because it's out there, and at least you'll be right.
Which I really enjoyed that we were able to do these more intimate one-on-one scenes as the movie continued, because it gave the relationships a way more richer.
You just gotta start writing, get it out of your head.
To become way more
Dude, I wouldn't even know how
richer.
to turn this on. I can show you how to do that. It's no big deal. Whenever you want, it's in here. Just come in here and just start writing and click publish and bam.
My typical face for it, Andrew.
All Bobby.
When I actually moved to Florida in early 1999, I was the first one to show up in the group of friends that had a computer and connected us to the internet when I lived with my brother, and like most people like sort of knew what the internet was, but like I set them up with like AOL accounts and
Every time I watch this scene, I can smell the cigarettes.
Oh,
because it was Greg's porch is where he smokes, and it was like full of ashtrays.
I forgot about that.
It's a great 1950s chair.
like a primate for the first time.
what is that contraption?
VCR.
So this is supposed to be good.
They were rented from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Indie flick.
The most uncomfortable couch.
Yeah.
He has a new one now.
It's not even a couch.
Good.
It was just
He
a
has a
bunch
new
of
one.
2x4s
Yeah, it was.
together
He has a
and
new
a
one.
mattress on it. It's great. He was like, yeah, I put that together as a placeholder till I get a couch.
Yeah, he got one.
It worked out good, though.
This particular shot is actually running backwards. We actually shot this starting on John Michael and Katie, and went to Lexi, and I decided to reverse it because I liked it better starting on Lexi.
Oh.
This is so great, Zach, where you kick him off.
Well, I was trying to go for a foot massage, but he didn't get it.
Oh.
That pillow is real lamb hair.
Lamb hair.
It is sheep hair.
Quietly in the background of this scene is one of my first student films called Dirt.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, if you could see what they're watching, they're sitting around watching my student film. Fancy as fuck
Fancy
is
as
what it says
fuck.
on those socks.
This right here was based
Those-
after an actual
Oh.
night. Wasn't quite a date yet, but we were kind of flirty.
Those socks came from the Great Trash in Vaudeville in Manhattan on St. Mark Street. Bought them.
Andrew Romano's jawline, ladies and gentlemen.
The
Sharp, precise.
star of the show.
It's ridiculous.
Number one.
That's a man.
It is ridiculous.
Shave it down.
I thought I was, and then I saw that jawline.
I love her hats.
No scene, no Orlando-based film could be complete without Lake Eola, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Good move.
One of the best places to go for the farmer's market as well.
Totally.
It's another one of James's bikes, isn't it?
I don't know if that one was actually his bike.
Or was that
Drew's, maybe?
Drew's? Yeah, Drew, one of the producers.
That was cute.
Oh,
man.
the duct tape art.
This song is written by and performed by Nathan, who used to be the singer of Bughead, who was a famous Orlando band.
In the 90s, yeah. Thai food was and is still one of our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, this is 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
I was really worried that this was not going to come out well. I was thinking that I was going to end up cutting this.
I remember how you prepped us for it, and it really kind of
Yeah, that rocked me.
rocked us, man. We weren't ready for that.
Yeah, we went. Me, you, the three of us,
Yeah.
and Kelly went back in that room and we watched videos of people jumping out of the towers.
Which was, I mean, I was in 5th grade when all this happened. And ironically,
My school had a presentation about America, and it had some guy come in and bring in like Civil War weapons and Revolutionary War like flags and all sorts, and just told us how proud we are to be an American. And at the end of the day, we get our announcements like way earlier, and the principal was like, everyone needs to go home as safely as quickly as possible. Something terrible has happened in America. And of course, I'm 5th grade. I'm like, oh, this is a test. This has to do with the presentation. So it never really fully hit. But when you had us come into that room and we watched those, like, oh my,
Yeah.
that was it. That was the day. I think we filmed this and we were done.
Ugh,
Oof.
can't handle it. You were in 5th grade.
Yeah.
How?
Sorry.
It's okay. I think I was like a junior in college.
I mean, the one thing I did like about it is that I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Everything okay, kid?
Maybe I was a sophomore.
I was trying to draw a connection between, like, you know, this group of friends that loses one of their own friends, James, and it's sort of like they're forced to, like, you know, grow up, and the connection between, like, the country, like, losing its innocence.
We weren't even official to begin with. The fucker never even wanted to commit.
Another piece of Miko's clothing. He gave me that. It's a 1940s vintage. Real authentic Zara.
This was interesting to shoot, right?
Whose truck was that?
My neighbor's Mark.
Yeah.
Oh.
But James Ballard drove a red pickup.
Yeah.
That was cool to be able to.
I couldn't remember whose truck it was.
Yeah. To use the same
Great
kind of
shit.
vehicle.
What a shot.
Great shot there.
So good.
Fred Zara, ladies and gentlemen.
Nearly killed a tree for that, but.
You know, he was looking forward to that camping trip. He was talking about it all week, but he just took one look at me and he didn't go.
Kelly was a good sport on set this day. She was sitting in full sun.
Oh, yeah.
It was so hot.
Making you feel like
In between takes, trying to cool her down.
This was the end of the day where we shot the restaurant scene in the Thai restaurant. So it was the end of a very long day.
I love how Kelly and I have complete opposites. You're trying to warm me up and cool her down.
I know. Spring in Orlando.
Yeah.
Kind of a crapshoot.
Can't handle it.
never met. And now, when people think of the name James Ryder, all they're gonna think about.
I
is
love
this
this line.
Suicide.
It's so true.
And it's like, why? You know, like, why is that?
It's interesting
You're not
how.
gonna think about is
I like that you wrote that line because it's interesting how suicide becomes someone's legacy.
Yep.
Their identity.
plans and
Yeah, speaking about Kelly with lines, she was very accurate with this. Was like word for word.
I mean, that's it. Just a stupid fucking suicide, and that's it. Nothing else. Like, what is that? You know, like, why is it gotta be that way?
That's one of the main reasons why I felt like I wanted to make the whole movie, is because, you know, James's legacy was the guy that committed suicide. Oh boy, look at this guy.
Dan walks.
This guy looks like trouble, right, Andrew?
Oh, yeah.
Got a sec?
Yeah, what's up?
You hear Marchevsky is leaving?
No, I didn't. Why?
Don't know. He wants to join the army, go out and kill some towelheads or something. I don't care.
I don't care. I struggled putting that line in the film. I could say that now, right?
Hey, you're a smart kid, right?
Yeah, it's got to be hard to write characters that are racist or
Thank you.
bigot or.
But luckily for me,
difficult.
I just get to give it to Dan,
Right.
and he looks like the bad
Right,
guy.
he's the one who has to say it out loud.
Like, don't look at me. It's just
You're
that's
the
what
one
he
that
said.
lives in infamy on film saying this stuff.
Bumping it for you.
Well, that's cool. Maybe I will. Thanks.
Excellent. Oh, I understand you requested off Friday.
I did request.
Yeah, okay, well, it's not going to happen.
I'm sorry.
We have a big release that day. Maybe the biggest of the year. Phone's going to jump right off the hook. I need to hear that day.
But Mr. Holcomb, I kind of got this.
Look, I understand it was personal. But you understand me. I need you that day.
His name was Hank in real life.
Hank.
My boss, his name was Hank.
Good old Hank.
I won't say his last name,
I
but
was gonna say.
Hank.
But he did know how to turn on the computers.
he didn't really know anything about
I got a little
computers.
lunch thing with some clients. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
He looked a lot like Dan now.
And you keep up the
I mean, not that that really mattered, but it turned out that he kind of looked like Dan.
I love that. So funny.
Dan just shows up and delivers and goes home.
I still think it's crazy that you worked on Apples. That you worked on Mac computers.
Make it happen.
Hi, Bobby, it's Richie. Can you give me a call back when you get a chance? Thanks, brother.
That's how we used to do things back in the day. Now we just say a text. Yo. HMU.
Can you imagine if somebody left you a voicemail and was like, call me back when you get a chance?
I'll
You'd be like,
text
who's
you.
dead? Who's dead?
Yeah.
Like, somebody's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings up an interesting point. That was another reason why I felt like I wanted to keep the movie in 2001, because it was like it was a couple of years before iPhones and smartphones started coming out. So back in those days when friends just sat around, they didn't just sit around and play on their phones. They sat around and talked.
Right.
And that's what these people do. They sit around and they just tell stories about James Bond.
I still have that duct tape figurine right there.
Well,
It sits on my desk.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes my heart happy.
I love that. Yeah.
I took a lot of care making those.
You almost ruined it in this scene.
I did.
You did.
The power of the scene.
This was a big one.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Is it possible to move the James thing to Saturday instead of Friday?
You know what was really fun about this scene for me? I was sitting off to the left, and this was one of the only scenes that I didn't actually physically watch. I had to watch the whole thing from a monitor in the other room, and I really enjoyed that. I don't know. I felt
People that you won't even have lunch with?
I felt like I could give you guys your space or something. I don't know.
You're right, I don't.
We keep catching glimpses of photos on the refrigerator.
Oh yeah, we'll see that at the end of the scene. All the pictures on the refrigerator, aside from one of Zach Roundy, who plays James Ryder. There's a picture of him. Other than that, all the other pictures on the fridge are suicide victims. Miko was on the fridge a couple of times.
He's the biggest one on the fridge, I think.
Yeah, and some of the other people that worked in the cast and the crew heard that I had an actual picture of the real James Ballard, and then Erin put a picture of Miko, more than one, I think, and people started hearing, hey, can I put a picture of my brother that committed suicide or my friend that committed suicide? So we just loaded up the refrigerator with just appearance. It looks like the friends are just putting pictures on the fridge, but they're all suicide victims.
Shit like this all day, you know?
wow.
You work 3 days a week at the mall,
So what?
so have a little ambition.
Oh, ambition.
Yeah.
Is that what you
Here's
call
Miko.
working a shitty desk
Yeah,
job
he's
for
one lighting a
Yeah.
cigarette in the tuxedo.
Yeah, that's real ambitious. Yeah.
Why do you think it's so stupid to plan for the future?
Because we don't have a future, Richie. This is all we have. This, right here, now.
Oh, that's cute. Where'd you find that? From a bumper sticker?
You know, just get the fuck out of here. You don't even like it here anyway, and you think you're so much better than
How do you
all
do
of us.
this, Andrew?
Better than
What?
Go toe to toe with Kelly Dagnan like that.
Oh, dude,
Isn't that
yeah.
tough?
Yeah. I mean,
You wanna know?
Yeah,
You guys are
I do.
great.
Okay, well, it's because you're full of shit. All right, Richie? And I don't like people that are full of
I'm
shit.
full of shit. I'm
Yes,
full of shit.
Yes, you are. And you don't even know it either. You're so full with all your life planning and your career planning. that
This
you
was
don't
also
even
used at her
realize.
audition.
You
You
never
guys
ask
Yeah.
did
yourself,
this
not
together.
once, what do you want?
I remember
What makes you happy?
Well, do you know what you
Answer.
want?
Kelly being afraid to push the envelope too much because the dialogue that Fred wrote was a little close to home for her. So she was afraid that if she went all in,
Why can't
she wouldn't be able to finish the scene.
Right.
So she was challenged with the not going to
He quit.
finding that happy medium.
Yeah.
When he had to
You know.
face being an adult.
You didn't even know him, man.
Then I have to, because that's all you guys ever fucking talk about.
Yeah, because he's dead, you asshole! He's fucking dead! A month ago, he was sitting in that chair, and now he's just gone. And he was one of us. And I wish I had him back for just like
This was actually a challenging scene. It's obviously an emotional scene for me to watch, but it's a challenging scene to cut together too, because you know continuity was tough, and
Lex, hey, come on.
One day you're gonna wake up.
That beat, Kelly.
she turns on
Just
the.
knows how to.
For your house, your career, maybe even a fucking dog. And you know what else? You're gonna have high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and you're gonna be on like 60 different prescription medications because in the middle of all your life planning, you forgot to actually live your life. I don't have a plan. I don't hide behind one either.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
Great moment taking it in, Andrew, and then you throw this.
Then he beats up my dolls.
Here's James.
That's me with Miko in the right corner.
Your quitting thing. I can't just quit, man. All right, my boss needs
We
me to
took a
work.
selfie with a snap camera because there was no such thing as selfie cameras then.
Yeah.
So we turned around a disposable camera and hoped for the best.
This scene, shooting this scene is a great example of some days you just don't have it. And thank God for my awesome, amazing scene partner for holding me in it. I was just having a hard time committing to the words this day. Do you remember that?
Well, what I really enjoyed about it is before we went into it, you're like, let's Meisner.
Yeah.
And we Meisner size without, let's just get into it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the coolest things that I continuously look for other Meisner actors before we go in. We're like, can we Meisner? Because after this, I'm like, oh my God. I felt like I knew what I was doing, but then after we Meisner, I'm like, hold on. There's so much more. And that's now a big part of what I look for before I do a scene, if it is at all possible.
Bobby, ever since I came down here, I've been trying to.
I thought you were great in
I
this
think
scene.
you're great in this scene.
Really?
You're super grounded.
And that
here.
goes back to the trust. Like, I had to look
So
to
good.
Erin. I had to look to you, Fred, to like, is everything all right? Because
I remember you asking that, and I was like, "Are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
You're killing it."
Having
No,
the
you
trust.
guys
yeah.
are doing wonderful work. It's so good.
The fun fact is all the dog walker edits of them calling
Yeah.
the police, thinking we're about to start a fight.
Oh no!
Right now, dude. I know, man. I know. I don't know. Maybe I should have come down.
Don't say that.
No, I'm serious. Look, I might get a promotion at work. If it happens, I'll probably just get my own place. If it doesn't.
Every single scene that's outside that you're in, Zach, it's cold.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Again, I was supposed to have my shirt off for the whole movie, but since I lost my nipples, green shirt, white shirt, here we go.
But like every other shooting scene that you're not in, it's warm.
Hot.
Yeah. And then Kelly comes out there and it's like, here comes the sun.
Yeah, that's the street I used to live on.
Yeah. Where James lived.
That was James's last known address was right on that street.
Wow.
Yep.
Did I not tell you that at the time?
No. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff I'm learning right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the house that I moved into when I first moved to Florida is the same house that James lived in right before he passed away. And it was on that street.
Welcome to the
Mr.
frame, ladies
Fred
and gentlemen.
Oh, no.
Luke Skywalker, also known as Fred Zara.
You could fast forward this scene
There's
if
my
you'd
handsome
like.
husband. Look at that. Irresistible.
5 months it took me to grow that beard. 5 months, and I was like, if this scene doesn't work, I'm cutting it, and I don't care if it took me 5 months to grow the beard. This scene and the 9/11 scene were two scenes going into post production. I was thinking, I could lose those scenes.
Wow, I forgot you looked like that. That's impressive.
Are you Isaac?
Old man,
This was hard, Andrew. This was hard to switch gears and be an actor.
Was it?
Yeah.
Were you now when you approached this scene, Fred? Were you looking at it from now like a director's lens when you were in it, when you were acting in it? Was it difficult to?
No, I kind of handed out the reins here to Erin, and said just I mean we talked about what it was going to be, but in terms of like looking through the lens and making sure that were being truthful. And she actually kept me on track, because I don't know if you remember, I started playing the scene a little bit more
Charming.
charming and joking a little bit, like I was kind of goofing a little bit and being a little bit of like a weirdo,
Yeah.
like a weird like hermit kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Erin like pulled me back and said just be a little more grounded and serious
God,
with it.
yeah, the producer there to get eyes on the lens.
But it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I don't envy those, you know, these crazy people that like star in films that they're directing, and they're in most of the scenes. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
right. Yeah, true.
Used? Yeah. Should start breaking down when I first bought it.
What you wrote here has always kind of stuck with me. In it about you related the suicide to a car breaking down, or like why James left, rather than ride the car out till it breaks down, just to leave the car in the condition that it's in. That always kind of stuck with me, and it struck a chord in the moment.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It makes sense.
And we were talking about this the other day, that like it's very much like your body is very much like a car. If you take care of it in your later years, you could be a classic. You could look like a vintage piece of equipment. If you don't take care of it, you're an old jalopy. And what I was trying to write here was that James was such a classic in his youth, in his 20s, in his teens and 20s. He didn't want to take the chance of turning into an old jalopy. He didn't see himself that way.
Can't say I blame him. Shit. You kids think
Those fake cigarettes burn way too fast.
Way too fast. I had to smoke.
We almost ran out.
Really?
At least 7 or 8, maybe 10 of them during the scene, and I don't, ladies and gentlemen, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I haven't in 20 years, and
Nice.
it was pretty gross.
that's my daughter.
It's hard not to cough with them too. You're like,
Up in Michigan, whatever.
That's really a picture of my daughter, Mackenzie, whose middle name is Ray.
Once a year, maybe. Yeah, that's cool.
The name Isaac came from
18.
Isaac Hunter,
She'll move down here with me.
who was a pastor here in Orlando.
Yeah. It's cool. She told you she wanted to come down?
She didn't tell me.
I think the original name was Cliff in the first draft of the script.
Yeah. I think it
Old
was.
man Cliff.
Yep, it was.
I do want to compliment your subtlety, Fred. It's very
subtle.
Yeah, the minimalistic. You made some minimalistic choices there that I think is more compelling and interesting. Yeah, like a Mandy Patinkin type.
I'll take that.
Sip Patron in the morning.
Like I said, it's hard to like rein in the energy from the day. I mean, this again is later in the day, and we're 7 hours into 7-8 hours into shooting other people's scenes where I have to keep the energy up, and now I have to like fully pull it in and just be this guy.
I'm sorry, sir, but no, unfortunately, we cannot do that. Sir, Sir, please, I am trying to do everything that I can to ensure that your order is... Look, fucker, I don't give a shit.
Yes!
Literally every customer service is just cheering.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Please say
What the
that.
hell is the matter with you? You gotta take that temper of yours and smooth that temper out. Take it easy.
I
Stop.
know, sir, but I was thinking that...
This scene is actually taken from something that really happened.
I pay you to do your job. I do not pay you to use that.
I didn't deal with customers, but I did computer work for this guy, a guy like this. And
Dan gets so red here.
I
It's
know.
amazing. I love it. Sorry.
no, it's great. It's like,
The body posture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the guy freaked out on me like this, and I had it in my mind that I could blow up, and freak out on this guy, and I held it in just like Andrew does great here, and just took a beat, and I'm like, why am I letting this guy get me so upset? And once I took a deep breath and exhaled just like this, the whole world changed. I'm like, this guy doesn't matter to me. Like, why am I letting this guy get to me? And all of a sudden, color shift it, and I'm like, this guy has no power over me. And just slowly, methodically,
I
just
love
start
Andrew here. Yeah.
Yeah.
shutting things off.
Back with the realization, he's completely
Yep.
different.
Right.
Like, it's
He's
just
like,
you
oh,
already,
yeah, that's
you
great.
can already see the scene playing out, and we're not even at that part yet. Just beautiful work all around.
I mean, my customers would call me up in the middle of the night
And
ask
sucker
me
punch.
out for beer because they had a social problem. You just have to deal with this. This is not so much to deal with, you know?
Are you done?
Ah!
Yeah, I'm done.
And that's
Wonderful
that's
job.
exactly what I said to him too.
Yeah.
Not today. Not this day.
You know, Mr. Holcomb, you're just so.
Of course, in reality, the guy pleaded with me so much in the moment that I stayed on for 2 more weeks and helped them look for a replacement.
Oh, no, you're ruining it. Don't tell us that. You walked
mean
out,
you
you
punched him
never
in the
looked
face?
back.
You're a nice guy.
And then to
It was
watch.
an MMA battle like you wouldn't believe.
I put my tail between my legs. I turned my computer back on.
That's the famous Fred Zara's actual office chair there, too, with all the
Yeah.
pieces of leather falling off of
We
it.
did throw that out.
I've since thrown that out.
Oh, that's too bad.
Is that Skeet again?
Yeah.
That's Skeet and Paul.
He's a master of design.
Kendall?
Disguise over there. It's just
Right.
Kendall,
he's in every
Kendall and
scene.
Kira.
And Kira, yeah.
He even did a couple scenes as Andrew. You had no idea.
Welcome to the stage.
Yay, Tina!
Who is that?
My God.
Stunning.
She's so
You saw
hot.
her information?
Yeah, I'll
I
hook
think I
you
have her
guys up.
headshot somewhere.
Hey,
I'll give it to
there's
you.
Erin Laine in the background.
Hey, that's Erin
Wow.
Laine sitting at the bar.
The jawline doing work right there.
It really is.
That's how you keep it in shape.
That's how you,
Damn good
that's how you work it out.
This was a miracle, wasn't it, Fred? The fact that we got. Do you remember the morning shooting
Oh,
this?
this
Oh, it
morning.
was,
it was a mess.
It was a mess this morning. It rained.
I thought it was a miracle.
All it did was rain.
You
It
presented
was.
it like so
No,
wonderfully,
it became a
like,
miracle.
It was. I can't not believe that we. There was like a 4-hour window, maybe 2-hour window, where we could just shoot.
I don't even. I think we broke in the middle and had to go back in our cars and wait it out for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a like beautiful sunny day too. In the next scene, Zach says,
I do like that.
"Actually, this is one of my favorite shots in the whole movie. I don't know why. I just love that it all happens in like one small little take here. Katie comes through. She comes in the right. She goes all the way around, passes out.
Fun fact, Zach also cannot shoot nor keep rhythm. So he is, as an idiot, just tapping the drum. Begging John Michael to hit my foot to know what rhythm I'm supposed to hit on.
These were
Some great trivia.
I've got some talent, but not all.
almost an exact copy of the real memorial cards.
Yeah.
Of course, it says James Ryder and not James Ballard.
Yeah.
And it has Zach's picture rather than James's picture of it.
Who made the pins? Did Kelly make the pins?
Kelly made
We had
pins,
little
yeah.
buttons. I still have mine on my jacket.
Yeah, Kelly made little pins with hearts that said James Ryder
Ryder
is
is love.
Is love.
Yeah.
She handed them out at the premiere.
I love that.
There's a Casio watch. We had 3 of those. You still have one?
What?
The Casio watch?
I still got it.
Yeah.
Hey there.
Well, he takes it off before he goes to bed.
Those clothes, that the way he walks, it's so much like James Ballard. It's just weird.
That was. He was wearing something of James's that day. His bracelet.
He was wearing his bracelet.
I love this.
One of James's really good friends
a
showed up
beautiful
on
shot.
set.
This realization
Beautiful.
is one of my favorite moments of the film.
This another one was a tough scene. Like, is this gonna come off okay? You know, everything else in the film is reality based, and all of a sudden now we have this sort of dream thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice day, huh?
It was weird finding Zach because Zach is he was just about the same age as James, exact same height, exact same build, born in Florida. You know, fascination with gators. It was like there's so many things that were similar between the two of them, and he was really into like learning about James Ballard and hearing about the kind of music. I gave him a playlist of songs to listen to.
you're not naked. Oh, nice. Can't say I didn't think about it.
Some of James's one of James's best friends was on set this day, and when Zach showed up on set dressed like this, there was a weird moment that, like, you know, he's seeing James for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
Help Lexi understand, would you?
I'm really happy we're doing this because I'm hearing more history about the film I did not know. It's very exciting to be part of.
He embodies James Ballard so well.
Yeah.
It's you guys.
Yeah, Nina, one of James Ballard's really good friends, texted me like 10 o'clock at night, the night before this shoot, and said, I have these beads that James used to own, and I want to make them into a bracelet. Would your actor wear them? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great, but we're meeting on set at 7 a.m. Can you make this bracelet and be here at 7 a.m.? And she's like, yes.
Whoa.
And she you know, she showed up, and
Like that, he was gone.
where's he going?
Alright, everyone. You ready to rock this?
Yeah.
You okay, Lex?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You ready to do this?
No, not really.
I love that we're just a little detail of all the smoke in the background.
Great subtext. Everything's fine on the outside, but really.
HDR.
showed up.
Yay.
Nice little HDR shot to try and expose the inside and outside at the same time. Courtesy of a red camera.
Love this music, too.
I do too.
This is a very good friend of mine, Melody Federer, who just got a write-up in Billboard magazine because she released a single with Burt Bacharach. So her career is going very well. But she wrote this song especially just for this movie for us.
Thank you, Melody.
During the campaign, raising money,
Yeah.
I sent her the script, and she was she's ridiculously talented. And I'm like, she's not going to write a song for this film. I don't really have money to pay her. And like the next day, she's like, what do you think of this? I'm like, holy shit.
I'll take it.
3 days, but I think we partied the entire time. You guys are fucking nuts.
She drops like a couple of lines from the script in the song.
Yeah.
No rules. Just like him. Yeah. He was a rock star. He had all the attributes of a rock star.
So right before the scene, I actually tried to catch an alligator that we saw.
Yes, that's true. I think we have pictures of that somewhere.
Just Zach doing Zach shit.
There was a 100% chance of rain this day.
Oh
Yeah.
my
It
god.
was
And
the
we
last
got
shooting
it.
day, and it didn't rain
Yeah.
until the very last
Yeah.
last few seconds of the film.
He became
Yep.
one. But he wasn't even.
This is coming from real life. James's real name was James Robert James Neal Ballard, and his mom named him after rock stars. James Taylor, Robert Plant, Neil Young,
Neil Young.
Y'all can hang out as long as you want.
or Neil Simon. It was different.
And this gentleman,
Jay.
he knew
Yeah,
James,
Jay.
yeah?
No, he didn't.
No.
He's a Class Act actor too.
Okay.
Class Act Studios.
He was in the class that Fred and I met in. The very first class at Class Act.
This is almost verbatim from what I remember from the actual memorial. Jay actually looks a lot like James's uncle, who was the one who showed up with the ashes to put him in the water. And I remember a speech very similar to what I tried to write here for Jay, and I definitely remember him saying, you know, a couple of words about prayer and the Lord, and then saying something about I'm going to miss our fishing trips.
You were my nephew.
And
You were a son
I don't know about you, Kris, but I distinctly remember when the ashes hit the water,
Hearing a thud.
hearing the thud.
Yep.
And I talked to the sound designer, very great sound designer. His name is James. To enhance that as much as possible. And try to bring up like the bass to really, because it's such a silent, quiet moment, and it really resonated.
Mm-hmm.
This, of course, is not shot at the Econ. It's shot in the back part of someone's house. Peter F. O'Donnell.
Them walking down the trail, though, that was the really fun.
All the trail stuff is all the Econ River area where James is actually, the memorial actually happened. But it was really hard to find a location, a public location.
I was gonna say, Fred, you did an amazing job finding that location to shoot this scene. It being not at the river, but the way that it's edited together, it looks like they're at the river.
Yep.
It really pulls it off.
Absolutely.
Good, because the obstacle of we're gonna have a bunch of actors strip down naked and jump in the water was hard to overcome with a low budget and public spaces and stuff like that. And being able to have access to Peter's house, so we can have food and restrooms and people could clean up.
Yeah, we needed that for sure.
Peter's next door neighbors thoroughly enjoyed sitting upstairs with their coffee
Yes,
all morning. And
they
watching,
did. They
watching
watched us.
everybody get in the river naked.
Yeah, this again is something we shot backwards, where we shot this starting at sunrise, and in the movie it takes place as the sun's going down. So this was an early day. I think the call time was like 5 o'clock or something.
Super warm.
You were happy with the temperature on this day, Zach?
No.
I don't remember. I had a lot of mimosas that morning.
Yeah, they were the mimosas.
Oh,
yes, we did.
A lot of mimosas.
Yes, we had a lot of mimosas.
Something had to get these people in the water. Zach, you almost slip running into the water.
Yeah, yep.
I almost died.
Yeah.
So yet again, Zach can't handle cold, and he goes into the water. It turns out the water's a lot colder than it is outside too. Until Kelly walked in, and the sun came right on out. I love Kelly. I'll come out for Kelly. Zach can kick rocks.
I think we did this song 4 times.
Not
Remember?
even. Did we do it that many times?
I think we had four different takes of her singing to choose from. One of them might have got cut off in the middle for some reason. But
I can't sing, man. I know that. You sing.
yeah, this is another Joe Zara song. My brother Joe wrote this song. He tried to write it, and Miko says a lot of this because Miko in the film is the one that supposedly wrote it. He tried to write it from the perspective of James. James saying, if I wrote a song, what would I want people to remember me by? Boom shadow in the background. That pisses me off.
Now, everyone who watches this will see it.
Yeah.
Didn't notice.
I don't think I noticed
Melina Kay.
Shout out to Brian Manfred.
Henry Gibson.
Henry
Jones.
Gibson.
Henry Gibson.
Literally,
Love him.
I think he won the award last year for the nicest guy on the planet.
Right?
Yeah, I remember
2019,
voting for him. Yeah.
He came in last minute too. Brian Head, who was the shirtless guy in the raving scene, was supposed to be that character, and he moved away to California. And Henry came in at the last minute. And again, coming in at the last minute, oh, by the way, Henry, you got to get naked.
Kelly really set the tone for this next moment for us all going into the water.
Kudos to her, man.
She set the confidence.
Yep.
That had to be hard.
She was so triumphant in the way that she approached it that we were all like, "Fuck it.
Yep.
Let's do it."
It was such a small margin of time to get it too with the light.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such a stressful day, but it was
The majority,
so beautiful.
The majority of them actually getting in the water was one take. I mean, a couple of cameras, but
It's 2 cameras, right?
yeah, 2 cameras, one off to the side, one wide in the back. And this
You don't
is
fight that
just
water.
as the sun's coming up.
Time to get cold, Zach.
He's like, I want to die.
Yeah. It's freezing.
Fake smiles.
I loved that he ran in.
think
I was
this-
hoping somebody would run and jump or something, but
John Michael, one of the most bravest people.
I mean, it wasn't
in
really
York right
deep.
now.
No,
it was
and-
only a couple
Yeah.
feet deep. I think that's.
and it was like, wasn't it like mushy on the bottom too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
There's alligators and anacondas.
You guys do have like little flippers on, or little
River shoes,
yeah.
river
yeah.
shoes or
No,
something.
you had us protected very well. Too. Very close. Come on, Andrew.
Come on,
Come on,
Richie.
Get the naked.
Richie Russo.
Take, off my
Take off
jacket.
your shirt.
We'll kick that water's ass.
Get that
I'm
jaw
clearly
in
the only
water.
one that works out in this cast.
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby, what's going on?
wait, we get Andrew's ass here. Hold on a minute.
There it is. Wow.
He doesn't even go. He just looks at her. Ooh, ladies.
Give my ass some camera time.
There goes one of the watches.
Ironically, it's wrapped around a fish right now,
Oh.
and the fish knows what time it is.
There it is.
The cinematography, I love
Fish
how,
knows what
how
time
Ryan.
it is in 1982.
I love how Ryan shot this.
It's
See,
beautiful.
Ryan's crouched down on the riverbed because he obviously wouldn't get in the water. But we had to shoot it in a clever way to where like it's eye
Ryan's
level with them.
expertise in what he was doing is, as well as his professionals, keep moving to make sure that he got exactly what was necessary. I mean, I felt trusted. I'm like, okay, this is gonna look good. Look at me dying over there! Look at me.
He wasn't lying,
I think
folks.
that's when I lost my nipples. Like, I think that was the moment.
I saw nipple floating in the water.
So,
What a nice, what a great tenderloin.
you're gonna have to get out of the water.
Which one? You two or my nipple?
The nipple floating in the water.
And everyone's gonna see you naked.
Was this hard to shoot,
No,
Andrew?
it wasn't. Kelly made this so easy. So easy.
Except my floating dead body in the background, just face down in the water, drifting.
I love this scene. I have so many great photos from this scene.
Oh.
Yeah,
you do,
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Fred wouldn't let me publish any of them because he didn't want to give the ending away.
He pulled his flipper in
Look at-
his hand.
At least we can Ryan. John Michael knows how much pain I'm having. He has no sympathy for me. He's
Yeah.
throwing the water on my back.
Wow.
2 pneumonia months later, I'm okay, ladies and gentlemen.
And
Don't
I
worry.
love that the rain was actually about to roll in here because
Yeah.
it sounds great.
It
Yeah.
does.
This is the one take we got after the actual rain.
Right.
Oh yeah, because somebody forgot the watch.
I was such guys. This destroyed me on
I wasn't
set.
sure if that was gonna get brought up.
Continuity. Oh my gosh.
All right, so quickly to explain, we shot this scene 4 times,
Yeah.
and Andrew forgot that he actually was wearing the
We had
watch.
it, we were rapping, we were walking out.
Andrew was wearing the watch that he supposedly threw in the water because he forgot to take it off. And we had to shoot it again, but then it like started raining, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was about to. I mean, you can hear the thunderstorm rolling in. It's not actually raining here.
Oh, right. It rained. It rained right after that
The
one.
moment we wrapped, it started raining.
I had you have it actually in the script, and you had you say a line here, but you do it better with your face without the line, so that the line left.
And by the way, that watch thing wasn't your fault. If any one of your producers weren't drunk on mimosas, they also might have caught that.
That is true.
And once again, here we go. We end on the picture that we started in the beginning.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to go back there.
Yeah.
I was
just about to say if y'all wanted to go back.
I was surprised we found it.
These are all suicide.
Will
victims
Hayes.
here.
Shout out to Will Hayes.
David Darrow, Mara's son.
Justin.
And that's it.
Hey, nicely done.
A mighty good film.
We have some real footage. Well, not footage, but photos.
Yeah, I forgot about this. These are actual pictures from the real
Who's
memorial.
that in the pink right there?
That's
Erin Flanagan.
Aaron Flanagan. I was gonna have Lexi wear a pink cowboy hat. That's the James's actual uncle.
Oh wow, yeah, good casting.
He's holding the ashes.
Yeah.
And these are the actual.
There we
You
are.
guys
There's
are.
naked Fred and Kris.
Y'all thought we were lying. No, actually happened.
Aww.
So sweet.
Fred is not wearing a watch.
Not wearing a watch, huh?
I'm wearing a necklace now, and
He
that's
looks after it.
our friend Lydia in the front.
James Ballard.
And there's the guy.
It's a
right
great
there.
photo.
So we did not know that photos were taken
Wow.
during the memorial. Fred and I had no memory of that, and for nearly 20 years, we only had that in our memories, and we would
Really?
talk about it. And as we were prepping for the film, we got together with one of James's best friends, Drew Landis, and Drew's like, "Oh yeah, we have the photos from the memorial." And Fred and I are like, "There are photographs?
Wow.
What?"
That
Like,
must have been gnarly.
so to now see these photos of everything we had been talking about for so many years and go, "Holy shit, that actually happened!" It was very surreal. I mean,
It was like seeing pictures of a dream that
yes,
you had.
Yeah.
yeah.